Omni Tactics this season around, because I'm not taking part in Kings of the Sea since I'll be casting it. I'm going to be casting next weekend Kings of the Sea bracket, and then the weekend after that I'm going to be casting as well from France. Right, let's see, what do we have here? Hindenburg. Matchmaking gave you... it's not too bad. They have a France, but in its current state I don't think that's too much of a threat. You are running stock consumables. I already hate you for that. You should absolutely be running premium damage control and premium heal. Those two should absolutely be premium, especially damage con. Honestly, and so should heal. You make the money back just by having a better game thanks to having proper consumables. So those two, absolutely. I assume, considering how many of these French ships we're seeing, this is probably actually EU server. After my, like, if I've made a commentary on you before, I'm pretty sure I've told you to not run stock consumables, and you're still running stock consumables. So yeah, I don't like that. I don't like that. Fundamentally, you will save money running premium consumables. Not if you run all four, but if you run heal and repair, you will ultimately have significantly better games, which will lead to making more income, which will lead to making back the money you spent plus gaining additional money. So, forgot to check auto resupply. That's a good argument, but still, I need to point it out because there's no reason not to be running it on tier 10. Pushing in left, support the Gearing Z52 are both going C, so pushing the left flank to support them isn't a bad idea at all. Your concealment is 12.3, your range is 17.8. This all indicates you're running my build, which is full concealment build with reload mod, which is with spotter plane as well, which is a nice combination if you are running it. If not, you're running something similar, I assume. The cap is going through, which means it's pretty safe to come around this island. Note, if there was a DD here, you can't just sail straight around this island like this, because you will get spotted guaranteed, which means going straight like this is significantly riskier, especially if there's a battleship waiting here. Z52 gearing, both spotted. That means there can only, Z23 even, that means there can only be a Shima down here. And the Shima is in a division of his own. Interesting. But still, that means this flank is probably going to be pretty clear. Only really the Minotaur. Oh, there's the Shima. Absolutely should open fire on him. He's gonna spot you anyway, so you should have your guns ready and be shooting. Oh, you used your torps to estimate his speed. That's not a bad move. I quite like that. An alternative to do there would have been pop your spotter plane as soon as he was coming around this island. I would actually quite have liked to see that when he was coming around the island. You pop your spotter plane to be able to better shoot him as he comes around. That way you might have gotten 2 shots off instead of just the 1. Some fantastic battleship sailing behind you, ramming right into you as expected. You are running Hydro. There's a Conqueror, but honestly he's bailing. I would turn your guns around. I would turn your guns to the left side. You should be turning them already, and I would be closing the distance around here. They don't really have anything that can punish you too heavily, and with the help of Hydro you can easily push the Shima and the Minotaur without them being able to do much. You are turning your turrets now, a bit late. No, you're still not turning it. I don't know why you're not turning, because you don't really want to sail to the left. You don't really want to go down here. That's not a good position. You want to push into the cap. So I'm not really certain why you're keeping your guns on the right side. In fact, your back turrets haven't really taken part in the battle much yet. Once again, I assume your goal has been to go to B from the start, and your turrets are still pointed the wrong way. This is, turret management has been bad here. Turret management has not been optimal at all. Because now you're going to be waiting for your back turrets to catch up. You're going to be waiting and waiting and waiting for them to catch up. You can easily shoot him. I think you could have shot him sooner already because your front turrets were around the corner. You do get the kill though, which is the most important thing. I would probably pop spotter plane at this case. You might be able to see the Minotaur because he's so close. If you pop spotter plane, he'll probably get air vision of that ship because he's not smoked up. He's sailing around trying to torp you. So getting the plane up would probably be a good idea at this point. Someone else spots him for you. That's fantastic. This Conqueror is horribly out of position. You don't really need to push into the cap. You don't need to push into B anymore. Your teammate, the DD is dead. The Minotaur has backed off. So there's really not much to gain from pushing into the cap anymore. Besides possibly getting spotted, which you did, and having to eat damage from both the Minotaur and the Conqueror. I think pushing into the cap was pretty unnecessary at this point. You're not really gonna have any... Like, nothing that you're doing in this cap is something you couldn't have done going around this way. The only difference is that you're now significantly more at risk. You can get shot from many angles, you're caught, you're trapped. There's really no benefits to going into this cap. There's no real benefits. Well, you get capping XP, sure, but ultimately it's an unnecessary risk and you will probably eat some damage at least. Not nearly as much as you could have. If that Conqueror was good, he would have switched to AP and he would have punished your broadside. But clearly he was kind of potato and he stuck to HE. That's a common Conqueror mistake, sticking to HE at all times instead of switching depending on situation. Conqueror is actually really good at punishing broadside cruisers with AP. Switch to AP. Nice. That's the risk you go. I still would have loved to see spotter plane just to give yourself more information. Like, you keep getting surprised by people around islands because you don't have your spotter plane up. The spotter plane could be spotting this and giving you the information you need. Some overpens on the gearing, that's always good. Ultimately, you do get the cap, but I'm very skeptical about this whole pushing into B thing. It was I would call it an unnecessary risk. The Minotaur, he's fleeing. Your quarter force is dumb enough to chase, you should ignore him. At this point, I would love to see you push up here. Push up here and start burning the Missouri. If you go here, you can burn the Missouri. You can start farming the Montana. If this guy pushes into the cap, you can shoot him from up here. I would love to see you position yourself up north. I would love to see you get into a position where you can actually consistently use your guns. This is a terrible grounding. This is terrible. You know the battleship is coming around. This was a terrible move. Holy shit, this was bad. If this France knows what he's doing, you're so fucked. Luckily though, the guns are not that consistent on the France as far as I've been able to understand. He does get one citadel though. I mean, if that would have been an actual battleship, like let's say the Montana, or the Kurfürst, or Yamato Conqueror, or whatever, then you would have been eating a shit ton of more damage, and you might have even died. Luckily it was a France, which at this point is a bit of a joke, so you actually don't get as fucked as you should have been. Still though, that was a really bad... I feel like for some reason you're trying to brawl inside B, when the whole point of this spotter plane build is to be able to maintain distance and consistently burn down ships. So you're trying to force the brawl for no real reason. And I mean the brawl will come to you at some point. You don't need to force it, but you're trying to force it really hard at this point, and it's kind of fucking you over. Missouri goes down. You could shoot. Nothing's stopping you from shooting that guy. If you can lock onto him. You can use the map key. Press tap M. You could easily have tapped M here to like get a bird's eye perspective and been able to shoot. Like you can farm him here easily. It's too late to go wide at this point. You might as well help your Minotaur inside the cap, and you might be able to torp this guy if he pushes. I don't like your position, but at this point, kind of just have to deal with it. You should be constantly farming this Missouri though. I don't know why you aren't. Just constantly farming him. You have a good idea of what the enemy team is doing, so you're not like you're gonna get caught by surprise. You can just keep farming damage on this Missouri. Use your torps, get an idea is how much is he accelerating. Is he accelerating more than you expected? It looks like it, because your shells are landing behind you, or behind him. Use your torps in between to get an idea of what he's doing. He's in fact stopping. That's amazing. Is he reversing? Use your torps to find out. Is he actually stopping, or is he going to start reversing? He is stopping fully, and he might even start reversing. That is good. At this point, I would probably activate the Hydra. We don't know what we don't know what this Baltimore Montana is doing. We don't really know what the France is doing. Is he pushing the gap? Hydra would give you warning. It's 6 km range. It's extremely strong. This would be a good time to pop it and get some idea. Okay, the France is going around. That's fantastic. The Montana here is about to spot these guys so they can't ambush you. That's also fantastic. That Hindenburg AP. Focus fire the plane. Control click the plane. You want to get rid of that plane ASAP. That's good. Someone else shot it down, or maybe you lost vision. It might have been a Minotaur actually shot it down. No, it's still up. Focus fire it. I hope you're focus firing it. You need to get rid of this plane. It's really important. Getting rid of that plane is a high priority. Conqueror somehow doesn't have his guns turned to shoot you. Once again, this guy is playing quite potato. But because you pushing up while you're plane spotted like that is practically asking for a battleship to punish you through the gap. That's practically asking for it. You are detected. What does detected here tell you? It tells you the DD is down here. It tells you there's a DD down here. That smoke tells you that he's on the other side of the smoke right now. He's going around this way. So you know there's a DD going around. You should absolutely be activating Hydro. Thank you very much. The France is going wide. You should be turning wide as well. You can't rush the France because he's too far away. You don't want to push into between two battleships, especially with the DD that's now spotting you. It's the DD that's consistently spotting you. He is turning away. You should abort. Absolutely should abort. If you can't chase a battleship. You can chase 1 versus 1, but when he's got a buddy with him as well, you put yourself in a horrible situation. There's the DD we knew about, thanks to the spotting. Shoot behind him. He's obviously reversing. He's obviously going to start reversing, so you want to shoot behind him. See, this is the problem with chasing someone. The thing is, torps will probably kill him, but the problem is, during the time it takes for your torps to travel is time he gets to fuck you over. He is reversing as we predicted. Is your torps gonna catch him anyway? They do barely catch him, but you should have aborted that push. You can't push into a crossfire. That simply doesn't work. We knew there was at least one of the DDs here. Turns out both of them were here, but we knew there was at least one. We knew both the battleships were here. So you charged into a crossfire, and that's something you simply can't... You can't do that, especially since there's no need. Especially since this guy was pushing in anyway. You might as well have used this guy's bait. Let him go first, then follow up. But that push, even if you kill the battleship, the trade isn't worth it. So yeah, absolutely. There were a lot of positional mistakes there. Pushing into B, I didn't like it at all. I don't think there was any point in pushing into B. You had the DD capping it. The DD was perfectly fine. He didn't need any help. There was no point pushing into the cap. You should have gone wide to be able to deal damage. The questionable grounding. Too much trying to force brawling, when one of Hindenburg's strength is the ability to deal damage from range. Yes, it's a great brawling ship, but you should only really brawl when you kind of have to, or you have a really good opportunity. You shouldn't try to force the brawl. This entire game felt like you trying to force yourself to get into a brawl and never quite getting there, and that kind of fucked you over. Alright, let's see, do we have any other replays? Subnautica when? As I said, on Wednesday, the 24th. Fletcher, 81k damage Fletcher game. That's perfectly fine. We can check that out. We can check out some Fletcher. Fletcher in general tends to have pretty high, like I have pretty high expectations of the average damage of the Fletcher, simply because the torpedo reload on it is so strong and the torps are so strong, so you tend to have pretty good average damage in that ship. Alright, let's see. What do we have here? We have Fletcher in a division with Des Moines and Missouri. Well, this automatically, if you have a division like this, obviously you should be pushing for the most important cap. Because what this division in a sense is, this is a capture control division. This is a division that is fundamentally focused on taking control of a capture point and holding that control. The Fletcher plus radars helps take the control, and then the Missouri maintains that, or the Des Moines maintains that control. That's how a division like this works. So of course, ideally you should be pushing B. Absolutely should be going B. B is the single most important cap. In general, the central caps are always the most important ones, because if you hold control of the middle, the enemy team, whenever they move, they have to go around your control area. So getting middle control always forces the enemy team to go through paths they don't want to go through. So obviously B control is your goal here. Des Moines ideally would like to push into a position close to the island. It allows him to focus fire, shoot like this, while at the same time use cover, and if he gets focused he can reverse, he can radar the entire cap. It's an overall extremely strong position for the Des Moines, and ideally you want to be scouting for them both. The Missouri can also be pushing quite aggressively like this, so he can shoot and support, and in general get into a central position. Just so you know, I'm turning away from B because my DM said he refuses to go there. Okay. Well, that's a pretty big issue because, first of all, your team was already heading towards A. You already had a good division going towards A. You had a Shima plus a radar plus battleship. That's a perfectly good team of taking A control. Plus, A is easier to take from the south than from the north, because you can just hide behind this island and cap it without being shot. So it's very easy to take A control. So wasting your resources to go towards A is just that. It's a waste. It's stupid. It makes no sense. I don't see why the Des Moines doesn't push up here, because he got 2 DD scouting. He should be able to get there completely unmolested. So that is a problem. I don't know where the hell the Des Moines is going if he isn't going up there. Atago spotted. Obviously going to turn full broadside. So you're also going with them to A. Okay, well, let me just start by saying I hate how your division is playing this. I fucking hate everything about how your division is playing this. This is a waste of an extremely strong division. A is even being capped without being contested. It looks like you're being given A for free, which means you are wasting so many strong resources to go to a capture point that you're already getting for free. So I'm already heavily disliking the path that is being taken here. If the Des Moines doesn't want to go here, then the Missouri should have pushed in here, and you could have easily taken B with the help of your Missouri. I mean, Fletcher can take a cap alone. Let's face it. What are you up against? Gearing, Shima, Fletcher. You can fight all of these ships. You can absolutely fight all of these ships. And if you have a Missouri with you to blast them with some battleship AP, easy peasy. Could absolutely take B. Your Des Moines is, holy shit, he's in the open. This is so questionable. If there's a DD here spotting the Des Moines, then he has to go up here anyway. I mean, he ultimately went up here anyway. So why the hell couldn't he help you cap B? I don't like your position, by the way. I don't like it at all. I don't like this at all. You're within radar range of the Missouri. And there's the radar. That's exactly why I don't like that. You're in a position where you're radared and you have no good escape routes. You have no good escape routes. Because you can't push forward, because then you push too deep. And your only option is to reverse. Holy shit, I hated this position. I absolutely hated it. This was not good. If you had smoked and turned away, so you were pointed this way and you get radared so you can get into cover, that would have been fine. But pushing so that your nose was pointed this way, that was terrible. You left yourself no good paths. You left yourself no real escapes. Especially getting close enough to Missouri to get radar. I really don't understand that. I mean, if you smoke up next to a Missouri, if the Missouri is coming from the spawn down like this, it's pretty obvious he hasn't used his radar yet. So, I don't know what you're expecting to happen. I don't know what you're expecting to happen. I mean, obviously he's going to use his radar, because you know he has it, because he hasn't used it on anything. There's no reason for him to not have used it. You spent way too much time there being greedy with the torps. There's no reason, like, I understand you wanted to torp him, but focus on surviving first, and then focus on torps. It's not worth trading. You just traded 2/3 of your life for the potential of landing some torps. Now, if they are not idiots, they will know you torped, and they will stay angled and probably dodge most of them. That is if they're not idiots. If they're idiots, of course, they will turn and give broadside and stuff. But if they're somewhat good, they will just keep nose in and dodge your shells, or dodge your torps. One of them managed to catch one. Other than that, not really much though. But yeah, that entire... First of all, going towards A, ignoring B was bad. The smoke here for your teammate I can somewhat understand, but doing it within radar range of 2 radar ships, that's just suicide. Doing it so with no escape routes, that's just really bad. That entire sequence of events was not good at all. Not good at all. If you like, you can bait radars, but then you should have laid a smoke like this and pointed your nose outwards like this way, and then you could have shot from here. You could easily have baited the radar by shooting from here, then he radars, and then you just sail behind the island, and you're perfectly fine. That's a good way of baiting it. But baiting it by parking in front of 2 radar ships with your nose pointed towards them, yeah, that's not as much baiting as asking to be killed. I assume you're locking onto the Yamato. Still no B control. This B control is becoming a big issue, the lack of B control. Really should have taken that B control early on. This fight around A would be a lot more beneficial if you held B now. Because the problem right now is that they hold 2 caps. And if it was 1-to-1 with a fight over A, this game would be really even. But because it's 2 caps and you're not gaining any points, it's really fucking uneven. And that's where they're gaining so many points. In general, though, you should already be dead. Being radared with that many battleships around, you should be dead. You got really lucky with the AP pens now and ended up surviving it. But fundamentally, you should be dead by now. The Missouri is pushing B. That is good. Shimakaze torps being scouted. That is also pretty okay. The Shimakaze is obviously capping this. You see, he's slowing down. He might even be reversing. Yeah, he's stopping. You want to torp behind him at this point. You want to be torping behind him. He's absolutely reversing. That's fine. Now, the other volley could have been sent towards the Missouri as well. In that sense, if the Yamato starts accelerating, and you might catch the Yamato. If you miss the Yamato, you instead hit the Missouri that's pushing in. So you had a chance of some dual-purpose torps potential there, which I might have recommended taking. Flamu, can you do a replay or review of my gameplay? Your gameplay. That's certainly possible. He is still reversing, so your torps look pretty good. The problem is you have lost the cap, and you have no actual caps right now, and these torps won't kill him. They will probably force his repair. They will, I mean, assume you get flooding. They will force his repair. You're within Missouri radar range again. Luckily, he already used it, so it actually ran out. That's pretty fortunate. In general, if you're about to eat a battleship AP volley, just give him full broadside. Angling away, angling like this when he's radaring, means that if he hits you, you're gonna eat full pens. So if he is gonna shoot you, it's usually better to give broadside to just get over pens. I mean, more than likely you're going to get hit, but when you're this low, angling away carries the huge risk of hitting a full pen. And that's straight up wrecked. You know he's used radar, so you can actually be quite aggressive. The Shima is spotted, and you know he's used radar, so you can actually get quite close to him and torp now to ensure that you land torps. That's probably what I would have done. Because you know there's no risk of being spotted. He used his radar. We have his radar timer figured out, so there's no reason to play super safe because we know that he cannot possibly radar you. The only deterrent would have been the Shima, but he was also spotted down here. So there was really nothing stopping you from getting really close and launching those torps. There was really nothing stopping you from doing that. So unnecessary caution when it wasn't needed, and too bold when it certainly wasn't needed.
The enemy team has taken the lead.
You do realize also that you could easily smoke up and fire here. Like you could have smoked up and just farmed him. You can do a lot of damage at this distance. His radar is about to come up soon, but I think you could have done a significant amount of damage. You got to remember the Fletcher is a hybrid, and you got 5 guns, and that's a lot of potential damage you could have done in here. Because ultimately you want to get rid of this Missouri ASAP. He is one of your biggest threats right now. At this point you probably want to start considering getting some distance. He's going to have radar up very soon. So as soon as you drop these torps, you should get the hell out. At this point you should be kiting the hell away from him and getting some distance. Because his radar will most likely be up very soon. When was it popped? 11? Around 11? It's 2-minute cooldown, I think. So it's approaching the time when it's about to be up again. His guns are pointed away, so shooting him is fine. You should switch to AP though. You should absolutely switch to AP now. Fires are good when he's full HP, because it does percentage damage. But when he's this low and very saturated, you want to be using AP. Especially at this range, especially against the broadside like this, you should absolutely be using AP here. People underestimate US AP for some reason, but you could be doing 3k damage a volley, easily, at this point. Especially with AR kicking in and your reload being this fast, AP would have already killed this guy. He does die though, which is good. At this point I would probably try to group up with your team. Because you can't really... This is not a fight down here that I would recommend taking. Why did you smoke? Why did you smoke? I don't understand that smoke at all. You were about to get undetected regardless. Like, your concealment was about to kick in anyway. You could have waited with the repair a few more seconds until your concealment kicked in, and then you repair to make sure you don't get set on fire. But that smoke was very wasted. That was a completely wasted smoke. Because there was really no need. And the bigger issue is, if you have to fight the Shima now, you don't have a smoke. Which means, if the Harekaze fights you and smokes up, he can disengage at any point. Whereas, if he gets the jump on you in a good opportunity, you can't disengage at all. And this is not really a fight you can... In that sense, he can actually kill you. How's your gearing health? Your gearing is full, so in that sense you could go down and cap with the help of the gearing. Ideally though, you might actually want to go up and help your teammates get C. A gearing should be able to 1 versus 1 a Shima very easily. He's asking for your help though, so I guess have to go help him. Your teammates do have double radar, so they shouldn't be caught by surprise by the Fletcher. They should be able to take that fight. It was a panic smoke? Yeah, it happens, but ultimately you want to keep in mind your own concealment. When you shoot, you get a 20-second debuff that increases your concealment to your gun range. It lasts exactly 20 seconds for every single class. So considering you had killed the Missouri quite a while ago, your concealment was about to kick in regardless, so there was really no reason to smoke. See, this is where a smoke would be very good, because you want to let the gearing kill. If this Shima was good, he could actually trade evenly here. If this Shima didn't potato, I don't know why he's smoking and sailing at the same time. He could have smoked later. If that Shima was good, he could have actually wrecked you. He could still wreck you, in fact. he should be actively shooting you, and if the Shima was smart, he would be trading 1-for-1, and that would be his best play. Instead, though, it seems he's running, which of course greatly favors you. Also, when you're 2 versus 1 wanting someone, and you have, let's say, well, you have a gearing, for example, there's no reason for you to give full broadside and make yourself an easy target. You should be angling. Nose in, make yourself a small target. Don't make yourself look, you're such an easy target. Look how easy you are to shoot. Turn away kite, turn away kite. Make yourself a hard target to hit. Because if this guy was good, this guy is an idiot, but if he was good, he would be absolutely certainly killing you right now, because you're giving him such an easy target to shoot. You're giving him such a flat, huge, easy target to fire at. A better player would absolutely have killed you there. You already have a 2 versus 1 advantage. Your teammate is going to be wrecking him regardless of what you do. So there's no reason for you to try to maximize your own DPS by giving full broadside. Instead, you should be trying to minimize the damage you take by angling towards him. So absolutely not full broadside, especially when you're low HP like that. Gearing has 4 guns up front. Yeah, the gearing should have gone significantly more ham than he did. He played unnecessarily safe in that situation, especially since you were scouting for him. He should have just backed you up. Regardless, though, there was no reason for you to keep full broadside. I knew the game was over either way. I just wanted to get as much damage as I could. Fair enough, but you still risk dying. You could still have gotten him killed without... In general, if you fight another DD, you want to be kiting away from him, because the guy who kites always has the advantage. So and the worst thing you can do is someone who's kiting away like he did, give him full broadside to shoot at, because then he has a really easy time hitting while you're struggling to hit him. So you kind of played that in his favor as heavily as you possibly could, and that's something to keep in mind if you fight someone who's actually better at the gunplay part. All right. Do we have any other replays here? We got a Roma game. 130k. I guess I haven't really featured the Roma like in a replay. I guess I could check that out. It was last minute damage without caring about dying. Yeah, but I mean, dying at that point would have been unnecessary. Because a better player would have killed you and you would have actually gotten less damage. That's what it comes down to. Let's see, let's turn off the overlay. Alright, Roma. Tier 8 matchmaking. That's of course incredibly favorable. Do we have any big issues really here to fight? Not really. I mean, NC and Alabama are 2 heavy hitting battleships. Amagi is a very heavy hitting battleship as well. So they are of course always huge threats. Cruiser wise, not really that big of an issue. I mean, Myokos, if played well, can be annoying, because they deal so much raw HE damage. But in general, the Roma's, one of the great Roma strengths is the armor. It has such good armor all over that HE is not really as much of a threat to it as it is to other battleships. Flamu, what is the reason to play Roma over NC from a Unicum perspective? There's really none for this, like for competitive and such, there's really no reason to play the Roma over NC. But in terms of what advantages does the Roma have over NC, it's significantly tankier when nose in, much tankier. NC, it's a ton of HE damage, and like in general tends to eat quite a lot of damage while tanking nose in. It's quite tanky, but it's not nearly as tanky as the Roma is. Roma nose in is just a monster. Are you scroll zooming? Are you scroll zooming on my stream? You are pushing down middle, you are running concealment expert, you are running premium consumables. These are all good things. Hit shift and never look back. Indeed, that's the way you should do it. If a book is going for B, that's good. In general, there's nothing really stopping you from kind of just like parking here. Like this position, parking here, nose in. Like you can even bring your back guns to bear like this. That's not a bad position at all. You're able to support B, you're able to shoot the enemy team moving here, and in general, you got a very central position. When you start going this left flank like you're doing now, which isn't necessarily that bad of an idea, you lose out a lot of map influence, a lot of map pressure that you could be exerting on this part of the map. You lose out on it because you put the island between you and them. I understand your goal here. Your goal here is obviously to... Oh, Minsk popped up. Another reason why I would have loved to see you push nose in like this. You are scroll zooming. Oh my god. I'm actually upset that you're scroll zooming. I'm actually upset that you're scroll zooming. Use premium scroll. Giving a lot of broadside. Once again, your position, you are playing quite far back. At this point, you're playing quite far back. And Roma's dispersion is extremely trolly. And it doesn't really do that well as a long-range sniper. You can see bounces and shit. In general, that the issue is the caliber is pretty small. So, trying to snipe, this is how you might play an NC. An NC might park here and shoot. But in the Roma in general, you want to be pushing more aggressively. You want to be more in the battle. Their DD threats are pretty non-existent, to be honest. Like, really, Minsk, Farragut, Gallant. These are not big threats, and there's nothing really stopping you from just pushing up all the way to this island, parking nose in, and just farming them, and just being a tank sponge for your team at this point. There's nothing really preventing it. You have mid control, so you're not about to get flanked by some DD from here, so there's nothing stopping you from playing like really aggressively around this C capture point. That is a flat, nice broadside. These are Roma guns though. These are Roma guns. I'd be surprised if you devastate him. Yeah, that's what I expected. 3 overpens. I mentioned that in my commentary, and the Roma, because of the shell velocity, it has this propensity to overmatch or over-penetrate citadels and cruisers at close ranges. So at these ranges you actually struggle to citadel them, even if you hit the citadel. And that's one of the significant weaknesses of the Roma that I mentioned. Okay, this fucking scroll zooming is tilting the shit out of me. How does someone play like that? Why would you scroll zoom when you can just use shift to zoom all the way in? It's actually really tilting me. Isn't it so much work to constantly scroll in, out, instead of just pressing a button? I would love for you to get closer at this point. I don't know why you're reversing at this point. Are you afraid of this NC? It's unlikely he'll be... Like, you could push all the way up here and put this island between you and them. In general, I would love to see more aggression here. I think you're playing too safe for the Roma. The whole thing with the Roma is the incredible armor. You want to get kind of in there. You want to get significantly closer. You want to use that armor, and you want to bring yourself close enough that you can actually land shells. Because once again, the dispersion is very inconsistent. RNG does happen, as we could see for that poor Amagi. A bounce, overpen, and a citadel. That's the holy trinity if I've ever seen one. Okay, this... Sorry, I can't deal with that fucking shit. Scroll zooming tilts the fuck out of me. I cannot watch that. I cannot watch that. It's just awful. It's just... Sorry, it's just awful. I don't even understand how you can play with scroll zooming. It looks awful, and I don't see how you can keep a track of the battle when you're constantly having to scroll in and out. It just Jesus Christ, no. Let's see, what do we have here? We have a Harekaze game. We have a Harekaze. We have 2 Harekaze games. 1 tier 8, 1 tier 10. Let's see what the tier 10 is like. Harekaze tier 10 isn't that easy to play. When is the picture with the salt shaker coming back between replays? I really like that one. Wait, which picture was that? Picture with the salt shaker. I could show the ranked dream team. Ranked dream team. Alright, let's see, what do we have here? Tier 10 matchmaking, Ocean. You got double DD though, like DD division, which is of course always nice. You got a Donskoy as well. They actually don't have any radar besides the Missouri, so you do have a radar advantage. They have a Fletcher, which can be nasty. 5 battleships, that's of course always good. Are you running the good setup? Oh shit, Bob. I'll check that in a second.
Cause someone in chat hated on flutes.
Wow. Why would you hate on flutes? You're running the B. I think this is the B hull, which is the best setup for the Harekaze. That's 3 of the Akizuki turrets, which actually makes it quite powerful as a gunboat. I think it gives it the 2nd highest DPM at tier 8 after the Akizuki. So quite strong in sense of DPM. You will easily defeat the Ognaboy. The Fletcher might be an issue, but if you're playing together in a division, you should be able to take him. I'm not seeing survivability expert on your ship though, which I'm heavily disliking. I consider it a staple for DDs in general. You want to survive, that's so important. This commander is pretty shitty. Yeah, I figured that. Because concealment, wait, concealment is 6. Is that the default concealment? I think that's the default, and then concealment expert adds another 10% on top of that. So I think this is a very low tier captain. Yeah, very low point captain, I think is what it comes down to. The Ognevoy is pushing into this capital. That is amazing for your team, because you're about, and he's no camo, and I think no concealment expert, because he was spotted so goddamn far away. You could easily be shooting at this point. Or are you spotting for a teammate? You could still be shooting. There's no reason not to be shooting. You could be using AP, by the way. If he gives you broadside, AP is really good. I don't know why you didn't shoot there. I assume you want to go for the torps, but you could have saved the torps and just straight up killed him there, I think, just by shooting. Like HE when he started turning, and then AP when he gave full broadside, you could have probably killed him, because Harekaze DPM with the B hull is very damn good. So there was no reason really to bother with the torps. I mean, I would say if he was a good player, he would dodge these, he would be angled in the smoke. But considering this is an Ognaboy who doesn't run camo, who doesn't run concealment expert, and probably even doesn't run the concealment module, he's gonna eat those torps and he's going to die, which is of course nice for you. No? Did he reverse? If those didn't hit, then you should assume he's reversed back here, and you should be aiming your guns this way, and not this way. He stopped and he reversed, so he's over here. You need to keep that in mind. Your Benson should be closing the distance as well. I don't know why your Benson isn't closing. Bob, can you calm down? Holy shit, I'm trying to...
Blame at Johnny_pot_pie for this one.
I'm trying to make a replay commentary here. Can you calm down? Interesting. Oh, there we go. Yeah, you know why he was spotting you? He's running the proximity spotting module. I don't know why you're smoking. That was a bit of a panic smoke situation. There's no reason for you to be smoking here. If someone... First of all, the reason he spotted you there was because he was running the proximity spotting module, which is why he was spotted from so far away. And second of all, there was no point smoking when he's running that, because he's obviously going to spot you. And once he died, there was certainly no point to smoke, because, well, the guy who was spotting you got killed. So the smoke was completely unnecessary. I mean, I guess it allows you to deal some damage to the Minotaur here, but still maybe not worth it. Especially considering you don't have a proper captain. You gotta ask yourself, is 10k damage on a Minotaur that's going to be healed back worth? Actually, not even 10k, maybe 8k. Is that worth the trade-off of not having that additional smoke? Even worse is, of course, pushing into B, where the Fletcher will be, and not having a smoke to disengage with. That can be a real issue. Bob, what?
Requested by @furrytaco.
Bob, can you come down? What the hell? What are you doing? Jesus. And don't... Is my chat influencing Bob again? Is my chat influencing Bob again? Flamu, do you think that spotting module is viable on ships like Izumo, since that will get pretty much perma-spotted anyway? Not really, no. Because if you can't... The thing is, you can't run without concealment module in the current meta. Especially not in a ship like the Izumo. Because Izumo is especially vulnerable to HE. And if you have no way of disengaging, even when you're playing extremely safe... ships that spam HE, like Conqueror, they're gonna love farming you. They're just gonna sit and spawn and they're gonna farm you from 20 kilometers away, and you will be unable to disengage in any way. And it's simply not worth it. It's simply not worth. And Izumo with concealment build and everything can get something like 13 kilometers of concealment. So it's really not the end of the world. Having a smoke here would be really nice, because then you could smoke up and you could ducka him. Now you're gonna have to get spotted. And being spotted this close to battleships should mean you eat a ton of battleship AP. But then again, I don't know how these guys are gonna play. You should be disengaging. You can't get this cap because you're spotted. You should be disengaging and come back and get the cap later. Because you're gonna get reset anyway, so you might as well dodge properly. There was too much indecision. I didn't like that. There was too much indecision there. If you know that you're most likely not going to get the cap, don't sit around and kinda try to get the cap, but not really, and sit there eating a ton of unnecessary damage. Just get the hell out of the cap. Then after your concealment has reset, then you go back into the cap again. That is what kills DDs most often, indecision. You see it especially when dodging torps as well. Should I accelerate? Should I slow down? I can't decide, and then you kind of do both and then you eat the torp. I do that shit as well, everyone does it. But especially when capping, if you are spotted, just get the hell out. You can come back later. No one gives a shit if you come back later. I mean, you have both teams have one cap. You're not pressed for time. You're not pressed to contest. There was no real reason to like kind of hang around. Just get the hell out and come back. Torping a hipper, probably not worth it. Widespread torps? Okay, I don't know you anymore. I don't know who you are anymore. I need to check Bob's links in just a second. And the reason why I don't think this is worth it, because a broadside cruiser is probably going to get killed regardless. Okay, at this point you should be smoking. Benson should be spotting. Actually, wait until he shoots and then smoke. That's probably the best play. He's not shooting. What the fuck is he doing? This Fletcher. Slow down in this small little square. That's actually a good play. Slow down, slow down, slow down. Did manage to dodge. I have no idea what the... Like, the Ognivoy and the Fletcher in this game have done some really baffling decisions. And I don't understand what the hell their plan has been. Ideal play. Torp the Missouri on the way to C. Cap C. That's the ideal play. Drop torps on the way. I mean, you can actually kind of shoot. You can switch to AP right in here and form his superstructure. If he turns his guns to shoot you, I mean, you have smoke. Yes, it's possible that he radars, but AP at this point, absolutely AP. If you don't have IFHE, especially considering this is a new captain, you should be using AP. Absolutely AP. Oh god, this is I've seen this in both DD replays now. Not using AP on broadside battleships. That is a huge miss. Like, you are missing out on, both of you and the Fletcher missing out on so much potential damage. Finally switching to AP, could have done it significantly sooner. I'm glad to finally see it though, because the raw damage is so much better. I think you're aiming a bit too high. That is fine, still getting those 1.5k hits. I think you could have gotten a bit better if you loaded a bit slower. To be honest, if I was in my Akizuki, I would be using AP here. Well, you're using the Akizuki guns. You're using 75% of the Akizuki guns. So anything you would use AP on in the Akizuki, you should be using AP on in the Harekaze as well. Bismarck spotting. You should not shoot, just get undetected. Good. They have no more DDs to spot you. They have no way of seeing you. At this point, close the distance. Save your torps, close the distance. A good play would be trying to force the Minotaur to smoke. Basically, how you force a Minotaur to smoke in a DD is... Okay, you used your torps already. I mean, the Izuma is sailing straight, so it could have been an okay. But what I would have wanted you to see was forcing the Minotaur to smoke. And what you do in a DD is you keep a Minotaur spotted long enough that he gets frustrated and he pops his... Okay, I don't like this. What the fuck is this smoke? You're the only one spotting the Minotaur. Okay, I don't like this at all. You are the only one spotting the Minotaur. And last scene he was pushing towards your cap. He got undetected, so obviously he's gonna keep pushing towards your smoke. Minotaurs always have Hydro. It's part of their kit. So he's gonna be pushing with Hydro, and he's about to fuck you up real hard. If this guy has any idea what he's doing, you should get spotted now by Hydra. Where's the Hydra? He's pushing in without Hydra? Well, I mean, you got spotted anyway. So he should be melting you at this point. Which you are being melted. Okay, this decision making. I don't know what the plan was there. I don't know what the plan was there, but that was... You got right into the path of the Minotaur as the only person who was spotting him, and then you smoked up. That was... yeah. Minotaur excels at killing DDs. It's because the Royal Navy AP has an extremely short fuse, which means that it activates when shooting through thin armor, which means it activates when shooting DDs, which means Minotaurs can easily do 5 to 6k damage per volley on a DD. So you don't want to fight them ever. Like, it doesn't matter what DD you are, you don't want to be fighting Minotaurs close range. It's awful. You just get completely wrecked. So that was... I'm not sure about that decision, but I don't recommend it. I don't support it. I'm more afraid of Minotaurs in my DDs than I am of Des Moines and Moskva. It kind of depends. If you can angle away from them, they don't tend to do as much. But if you can't, then you get absolutely wrecked. X the Butcher Pete, thank you for the 100 bits. Chris and M, thank you for the bits as well.